All right. We are connected, and I will call to order this regular meeting of the Citizens Advisory Committee of Waste Reduction District of Monroe County. Today it's Thursday, October 16th at 5:31 p.m. Will be Vice Chair, please call roll.
John Arnold.
Present.
Joseph Lydia.
Here.
Matthew Austin. Present. Bill Goins.
Present.
Patty Lucas.
Here.
And we are missing one. All right, thank you. Well, we have quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Could it be possible for TSD to provide screen sharing, or sorry, County Tech Services, to provide screen sharing for Joseph Winia? If not, I'll just note that the agenda was distributed by email on Monday, the 13th. Are there any objections? Oh, is it enabled?
Yeah, he
Perfect.
should be able to share now.
Got it. Thank you. So. There we go. There's our agenda. So is there any objection to adopting the agenda as shown on screen share? Right. Seeing none, that is adopted. Thank you. So we will actually, let me see, I'll check the attendance. I'll stop sharing. And then, so the first item of business on our agenda, we're going to put this up at front because we have a guest speaker. It is, thank you. It's Daniel Duncan. There it is. I lost my notes from Richland Farms. Daniel, are you able to enable your audio and video? And if not, TSD, would it be possible to enable it?
Should be able to share now. Should be good to go.
Right. So I don't know if chat is enabled, but I don't know, is there any way to confirm if Daniel from Richland Farms has video and audio access?
Here we go.
It's
How about now? Can you hear me now?
success. Thank you, Daniel.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Try to share here. Am I sharing anything?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hello. And I imagine that looks really tiny, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can zoom it in. Let's see. Zoom. Oh, here we go. There we go. Yes, hello, and thanks for having me. We, as you introduced, we offer a bespoke composting service for organic collection, and we've recently decided to expand our service area. We've been in West Central Indiana and Marion County. We've recently expanded into Johnson County, Morgan, and Monroe County. So just wanted to take a little time and give you a quick overview of what we do and how we do. I thought maybe the easiest thing to do would just be to use I just realized that our website, really summarizes it about as best as we can. So I'm going to use that as my tool here. We're at richlandfarms.net. We're based out of, we're near Crawfordsville. Actually, if you want to be real specific, we're about a mile south of Newtown. We're in Fountain County. So that's where we're based out of. really, there's three services run off the same truck. So we do have the composting or the curbside compost collection or organics collection. We have refillery service, which is really high quality organic soaps, household products, pet products, and the like. We also offer dry goods for restaurants and food service organizations that are interested in offering compostable serviceware like plates, bowls, knives, forks, and spoons, and to-go types of things. We've even been looking at some compostable rings for breweries who can their products. And we also have robotic service as well too. So robotics is in addition to some automated mowers. We also the robotics is how we things come full circle in the sense of taking the compost once it's finished, extracting the nutrient dense materials from it and the biota, the good biota, the funguses, the bacteria, and putting it into a liquid form that can then be reapplied either to lawns, athletic fields, golf courses, pastures, and any type of crops that are growing, or even gardens or truck farms. And the great thing about that is that we can do that any time of year. We use drones to do the spray if it's a foliar application, or we can also root inject that good extract right into the soil and get it right into the root area as well too. So all of those services run off of the same truck. Try to be a little revolutionary in our approach. We're always looking for ways to make it more simple, more elegant, and really just as successful as possible for our customers as possible. In a way so that they really don't have to worry about anything other than, hey, just setting out the waste, just like they would their trash or their recycling. And we take care of everything else from there. Even every year we return finished compost back to our customers, up to 6 cubic yards at no cost to our members. So with Zoom, it really makes it difficult to try changing the zoom again here. There we go. Some of our key differentiators. This is going to auto play for me. Let me see here. Try to get here to the beginning here. I think it's the next one. Yeah, weekly service. So we provide weekly service, weekly pickup, all throughout the year. Cleanliness is really incredibly important to us. We think that's one of the hallmarks of success is ensuring that the totes are clean, and no one's ever coming out to find a tote that's been serviced and finding that it still smells bad or has anything that's potentially offensive. So we rinse and wash the totes with each service on a weekly basis, weather permitting, of course. Let's see what the next slide is. Here's around our totes are sized for real life. We've got two sizes, the 12-gallon, which is really ideal for residential. A family of 4 or 5 typically can fill a 12-gallon tote once a week. 21-gallon can also be used for residential, but we see it primarily used in the restaurants, cafes, bakeries, hotels who are using our service. And as you can see through the picture there, as it scans by, the 21-gallon is sized so it fits really well into the industrial kitchen type of setting. They fit right underneath the prep tables and the service areas, and they just integrate really nicely into sort of their existing infrastructure that's there. And the last slide that's up there is really around reporting. We keep real diligent records and report back to our customers the impact that they're making in terms of how much CO2 emissions have been delayed, I guess you could say, and how much landfill waste in pounds has been eliminated as well too through using the service. So I'm a bit of a process engineer, so this kind of just walks through things in a real stepwise fashion. First thing that anyone who's interested in using our service would do would be to purchase a plan. We've got different ways that you can really customize a solution that works really well for you. Um, either at the 12-gallon size or the 21-gallon size. We try to keep things as affordable as possible. We're really using the New England model of organics, and I think that New England's done a really nice job of sort of figuring out that point that folks are comfortable with, and that's really around the $90 to $100 a year mark. Start going above that, and folks generally would say no thanks. But in that range of $8 or $9 a month, folks are generally very happy using the service, and they're also very happy with the $350 value that they're going to see in terms of finished compost that's coming back to them. So on the monthly side, you can just go right into our service plan area, pick a plan, and everything is automated in terms of billing and charging through our website. We can also do annual plans as well too, which many of our restaurants and cafes and bakeries prefer. And we do offer a 15% annual prepayment discount using an annual plan. Then after everyone's signed up and we've gotten all the information we need, we would deliver the tote. And you can see here that sort of the difference between the 12 and the 21-gallon size. I often hear that the 12-gallon size is cute, and I actually think that's kind of flattering it's a flattering thing to say for an organic waste tote. So it's very complimentary, I think. These are really nice totes. They're on wheels. They have locking lids, and we use a lifter or a waste, a hydraulic lifter on our trailer, our truck and trailer, and these integrate real nicely right into that. We come by, the lifter lifts it right up and dumps it right into the trailer. We wash it, set it back down, put in some pellets into the bottom of the tote, which helps absorb moisture and condensation. It also contains some inoculate, some bacterial inoculate that helps sort of start the composting process even while it's still in the tote. And in some cases, like with Johnson County, our customers are able to pick up their tote at the local recycling center. Love to be able to have that type of relationship with Morgan and Monroe counties as well too, where if you're interested, folks could just come by and get that immediate gratification of getting started right away with their home composting. Then it's just, you go about your daily routine, you're collecting your organics, putting it into the tote, and then setting it out on a weekly basis. We're typically running routes on Monday or Tuesday, and set it out just like your trash or recycling or your yard waste. Should also mention that our service does include unlimited yard waste composting as long as they're in brown paper bags. So folks can set out as much as they need to on a weekly basis. Then we have collection day, as we said, it's on Monday or Tuesday. There's a sort of picture of the rig, 14 yard gooseneck trailer and pickup truck. We designed it really so we could get into to be fuel efficient and also to be more nimble in some of the more narrow residential areas that we may have service areas in. We do give rewards, so every time you put your tote out for collection, you earn 100 points, and those points can then be redeemed in our marketplace for some of the refillery products, dog treats, refuse bags, things along those lines. Then we process the waste. We use three methods at our compostery. We use ASP, which is static aerated piles. We have turned windrows, and we also use Johnson Sioux bioreactors. We're actually the second facility in the nation to be licensed or permitted to use Johnson Sioux at a commercial scale, and we're first in the state as well on a commercial scale. We're also exploring ways that we can use the Johnson Sioux bioreactors to create sort of a kiosk approach for some communities that may, where we may not have a lot of high volume of customers, but you may have demand for where folks want to compost, so they could come to a central point. And we'd use the bioreactor, we'd then collect the bioreactor on a regular basis, and take it back and finish the compost. We love the bioreactors because there's no odor associated with them, and we can also process a pretty large quantity of organic material on a small footprint. And obviously, then we've got the redelivery service, which is bringing the finished compost back up to 6 yards a year for each customer. They can also donate it. So if you've got a cause in your community, like a school's athletic fields or a church or a 4-H or an FFA program or a nature area, we're happy to partner with them on that too. Or Habitat for Humanity is a good one that we've seen quite a bit of donation with too. We also do, as I mentioned, we apply to the crop fields and organic cornfields in West Central Indiana. And we're always looking at, we're really creating high quality product that's certified by the U.S. Composting Council. So we're looking at those key performance indicators just to make sure that we are making a positive impact and that we're in the end producing a high quality output on the end. So a couple other things I can go through here is, we're local. I grew up in Indiana, and we're in it to help our communities and our neighbors to make an impact. There's a map of our service areas. Warren County, Tippecanoe County on the north and the west, and then northern Monroe, northern Johnson, and Morgan counties on the south and the east. So I did mention the zero waste. So we take a very caring and thoughtful approach to working with our customers. Pots and Pans Pie Company is sort of one of our success stories, as they just opened in a few weeks ago in Broad Ripple. This little snack shop or concession stand, however you want to call it. It's on the Monon Trail. It's a really cute little location, and they're using our products, our plates, our cups, our forks, our spoons, so that essentially all of the waste that's coming from the little restaurant they call the Clubhouse is going to our facility to be composted. Some facts and figures on solid waste, which you're probably familiar with. I like to think that about 50% of everything we throw away could be composted. And there's sort of a photo of, to me, this is where the magic really is that, in a 20-minute span of time, I can take a truckload of material that looks like this, and 20 minutes later, it looks like this, almost like a mulch-like product. It's not finished yet, but, I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, gosh, I'd just love to just take that out and put it on in the garden, and or put it in some flower pots and start using it. But it's got a little processing and cooking to do yet before it's ready. But it's really neat to watch that transformation as you process it and grind it and get it into those stages. We're really, as I mentioned, we're following sort of the New England model. I secretly want, my goal would be for urban composting to be as popular in Indiana cities as it is in New England. I like to show this picture of the subterranean receptacles that used to be installed in the front yards of almost every home in the Boston area. And that was just a collection point where folks would take their food waste and their scraps, put it into this pit which had a bucket in it. Then weekly, a truck would come around. They'd empty out the pails, and then material was typically taken to hog farms to be fed to hogs. But I think that because of this technique that was popular in the 1940s and 50s, that stuck around to this day. And while I thought I had a picture of the totes, that must be in my PowerPoint. To this day, when you walk around a New England town, you see the trash can, you see the recycling can, and you see the composting tote lined up next to each other. And yeah, you get a little judgy at times, and you think, oh, there's a house that doesn't compost. I wonder why. But it is definitely the expectation versus the not the norm. So that's what I have. Happy to answer any questions or go from there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Daniel. Really appreciate that. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, so Daniel, this is Matthew Austin.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, bud. For, let's say, there was some restaurants that would be interested in signing up. What does that
Yeah.
process look like? I guess, what is the price point? I saw $89.99 a month, something in. What is the process of integrating this into their staff and their staff starting to switch over to this type of action instead of throwing it into the trash can? What does that
Yeah.
look like?
Really pretty simple. I would encourage the owner or the manager or whoever's essentially making those decisions to reach out to me. Typically, what we do is sort of an upfront analysis just to get a sense of what's the potential volume there. As I generally see that, like for a coffee shop or a cafe, they're usually using 4 or 5 21-gallon totes on a weekly basis. If you're looking at someone who's doing maybe like some breakfast service or lunch service or a bakery, then it typically goes up to like 6 to 8 21-gallon totes on a weekly basis. The little shop there, the pots and pans shop, it's hard to believe this is 350 square feet, but because they're doing a zero waste approach, where it's like I said, it's the cups, the bowls, and everything else. They are using 200, and their volume is 260 gallons a week, which is pretty cool, I think. And that comes out to about a quart of waste for every transaction. We really aren't counting customers, but we're counting transactions, and it's about a quart for every time someone runs a ticket or places an order there at their shop. So once we get a sense of that and we know how many totes they need, I can work up a proposal, include the like the 15% discount, and once the proposal is accepted, then we deliver the totes to them. Happy to provide any training or education or consultation that's needed for the staff, like you mentioned, because sometimes change is hard, and sometimes folks need a little assistance or guidance along the way, and we're happy to provide that. I'm also working on some. I'm in my real life. I'm a composter, sort of on a by passion. My real life job is I'm an instructional designer, so I do create a lot of training materials for folks. I'm also working on some e-learning for staff who want to do something more sophisticated, I guess you'd say, and even potentially looking toward a certification that we can offer for folks, sort of like a Save Surf. I think that's the right name for it, but or for your sanitation, basically. But instead, it would be for how to handle organics and how to compost effectively compost kitchen waste. And then from there, it's really just taking an approach of taking care of our customers. And I just an hour ago I had a call with actually this customer, for one of their other locations, was saying, hey, it's it's holiday time, where we currently have 6 totes at that location. She's like, let's ramp it up to 9. So, based on that, on the next service round, I'll bring more totes out to her. I would work up a level up proposal for her, and take it from there. So, uh, that's sort of what it would look like.
Gotcha.
Any other questions?
I guess, with that, what is she paying for the 6 and what would she be paying for the 9? I'm just trying to, if I'm gonna, talk to any restaurants in town, there were 15 or so restaurants in a program called Compost Up Downtown Bloomington.
Yep.
And so I've got that list. And so if I were to contact them, I guess what would the range be for a typical restaurant? The 90 to
Sure.
$150, or,
Let me bring that list up. As a general, probably I should rather, the list is a little overwhelming to put on the screen, but I'd say, generally as a general rule of thumb, it's based on your number of totes. So if you're looking at 2 totes, it's generally 29, 3 totes is 39, 4 totes is 49 a month. And then you'd have the option then to do that on a month-to-month basis. Where it's charged to a credit card or whatnot, or it can be done on like I said, an annual invoice, an annual plan, with a 15% discount on that. So.
let's get a better idea. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Actually, I have one if I may. I'm curious, so you said you're entering into the Monroe County market. Is there a particular client type or region that you're entering in, or is it just the whole area all at once?
Whole area all at once. And yeah, I would say it's anyone who has organic waste, and either well, there's different scenarios you could look at there. It's either, I have organic waste and I want to save money, because some of the haulers for trash and waste charge by the pound. And organic waste is very heavy. It can be 8 to 10 pounds per gallon. So, I think folks would find that our rates are significantly more affordable than a typical trash hauler. So, that's one scenario, is I want to save money. Another scenario might be I have organic waste and I want to be better about it. I want to do the right thing with it. I want to reduce methane gas emissions coming from landfills, or I want to, I want to reduce the amount of stuff that's going into the landfill. And I want it to turn back into good, healthy soil. So that's another scenario. And so, or it could be I have organic waste and it's a problem for me. Our very first customer actually was a hotel chain, and they have the great big breakfast buffet every morning, and it's Indiana, so what 2 things they're going to serve, and one of them is going to be waffles, so they're going to have waffle batter, or it's going to be biscuits and gravy. So they've got the the white gravy, the sticky white sausage gravy, and that's really why this chain contacted us. In addition to the fact that the franchise that they belong to has incentives and they have goals around sustainability. So they were concerned about the fact that it's like, handling this stuff is really difficult. We don't know what to do with it, and it's we put it in our trash bins. We get rodents. We get we have all kinds of problems that way. And we were really able to come in then and give them a complete solution, where they have a cleaner, more sanitary way to handle that type of waste, and ultimately that waste is being used in a way that also helps their sustainability goals too.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is quite easy to get sustainability for IU.
Yeah, this is Quentin with IU. I just had a question. You're talking about the weight reduction, based off of the water weight and everything associated with food.
Yeah.
I was gonna see, we got a pilot that we're doing in one of the dining halls where we're getting a food dehydrator that's for food waste. Essentially, it heats it up, dehydrates it. It's for a company called Gaia. It's like we're thinking like South areas. Anyways, in the longer term goal, my goal is to figure out a way to make this into some kind of soil amendment. But in the short term, I don't really have time to mess with it. Like,
Right.
once the thing is up and running, I want that whole back end part to kind of just like, be on autopilot, and we can figure out what we're gonna do on the side.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good size, dining hall for students, and but like I said, it's back of the house. Also, it's like buffet style up front, so you're gonna get that too. Yeah, I'd just be interested in seeing if you wanted to come down and take a look at it at some point, maybe figure out if this is a good application or not.
Oh, I would certainly love to check it out, and for sure would love to be able to haul your output, and to be able to use it as a feedstock, in in our process as well too. So
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, yeah, I'll be in touch.
okay.
Questions? Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, this is Tom McGlass. I'm the director down here in Monroe County. I've talked with Jesse a little bit, so I have a basic idea of what you're getting involved in up there in Johnson County.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask, particularly for residential, customers, is there, as far as food type waste specifically, I mean, I'm thinking meats and stuff. Are there any restrictions on what you'll take?
There are some state restrictions on that, and essentially it amounts to the food, or I'm sorry, the meat, and by meats I'm also referring to like fishes and shellfishes and seafoods and things along those lines. They have to be cooked, even, so basically it's no uncooked. And we generally try to steer away from liquids. Yes, they're compostable, but at the end of the day, what's going to happen to a liquid is that as it's being processed, is it's just going to drain out of the equipment, and it's just sort of a safety hazard. So one of the nice things about our rig for hauling is that it is water tight, I guess you'd say. So we're not really going to be spilling anything onto the roads or the highways. But once it gets to the farm, the liquids are kind of a pain. So we would generally recommend drain disposal, or a disposal type of scenario for that.
And then looking on your website, and the event services, cafe services makes a reference to a partnership with Responsible Products.
Yeah.
And so, and I guess I get all of that, but then coming back to the residential customer, if they go out to Walmart and buy compostable flatware, is that something you take, or does it have to be Responsible Products?
It has to be Responsible Products. The way the state has structured the permits and the licenses for composting facilities is that essentially we have a defined list of products that we will accept or can accept. And if you go out and start shopping for these things, there's millions of them. Many of them, it's very easy for a company to say that something is compostable, although they may have never tested it for that.
I get it.
Yes, I'm not going to say anybody's being dishonest, but everybody's looking to game the system somehow. So we essentially looked at this and said, okay, well, the easiest thing for us to do is to have a direct partnership with the manufacturer. We can offer direct to manufacturer pricing, which for a restaurant accounts to about $20 savings per case, versus buying it off of what someone might call like a wholesale site or something along those lines. So we're generally about $20 per case under wholesale. And what I've found in just learning about all this over the months has been that a lot of this stuff is made in the same place, in the same factory, and then it just generally goes through multiple hands of folks adding their markup to it, to call it a different product than even though they're all the same product.
Do you provide information to residential customers? You know, say, I'm having a family reunion and I want to use, do you let the customers know that if they want to use compostable flatware at a party or something, that it has to be this brand in order to put it in your tote?
Yeah, sure. We can consult in that way, or we can make it real easy and we just provide a full service event service where essentially we show up with everything you need.
Okay.
The totes, the flatware, you know, everything that you need, and then haul it away at the end of the day, and it's a done deal.
Okay. So, okay, yeah, so big enough family reunion, 4th of July party for you, that's just an event, and you service it just like you would Taste of Bloomington or anything like that.
Right. Correct. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, well, I think it's worth investigating more, so I will get your contact info from Matt, and we'll talk.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's just a world of opportunity, so we're real excited to be in it.
Awesome. Daniel, thank you very much for the presentation. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had just two for you, Daniel. Bill Goins. First question was, in counties where you're partnered with the solid waste management district to have totes at their regional recycling facilities, how does that work? Does a customer call in and sign up with you and get like a ticket number and then take it to?
Yeah, they would just essentially sign up through the website, and then you know, as part of the sign up process, there's a form that they'd fill out with all their info. You know, if it's like Johnson County, for example, Carla, I just took Carla 8 12-gallon totes last Monday. And so the customer then will, in their email, they'll essentially say, you know, if you reside in this county, you can go here and you can pick up your tote. And then they would just coordinate that based on the office hours for the center. Or if they want it delivered, we're happy to deliver it too.
Okay, and then my second question is kind of piggybacking on what Mr. Austin said. So let's say he goes somewhere like downtown Bloomington, which is about a 1 square mile radius of heavily concentrated restaurants.
Yep.
Would there be some way for the restaurant organization to kind of partner up to get a lower price point, since your efficiencies would be so improved being in such a dense area?
For sure. Yeah, we actually, in the very early days of setting this up, we were really centered around a co-op model. And you know, I guess in my mind, I'm always wondering, it's like, well, you know, Carmel's really trying to do this a little bit, but really not as successfully as we'd hoped. Where it's, you know, essentially, like you said, there's a real dense spot of, you know, 20, 30 restaurants in one area. And, you know, just providing a centralized service where everybody, you know, co-ops the cost. You know, in my mind, that's the dream. I mean, that's what I would do as a business owner. So we're all for that. And even to a point where if we needed to do like, we offer, there's a third size I didn't really get into in my presentation, but there's a 275-gallon size tote, you know, where, you know, it's really for that, you know, either that institutional, like an IU food hall type of situation, or where you've got a dense set of food service institutions that are, you know, essentially just co-oping the cost. So yeah, and I would love to even get to a point where we're using bioreactors, but we're touching into some, you know, registry or some permitting type of stuff that at that point. So that's a down the road type of goal, but yeah, we've got the 275-gallon totes available immediately.
And those are picked up on a weekly basis as well?
Yeah.
If needed?
Yeah. Yeah, picked up or dumped, tipped, and rinsed.
Gotcha.
And that question was from Brad Lucas.
Yeah, I'm with the local school corporation in Bloomington, so definitely something we would love to be part of. It's just
finding the right partnership that's able to handle the amount of food waste that we have and.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I'll
I agree.
definitely reach out to you about maybe setting up like a pilot school. I don't know that we'd want to tackle 24 schools at one time, but.
Go big or
I
go
would love
home.
to tackle 24 schools at one time. That would be great.
Yeah, put an order in for some totes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll definitely reach out to you about maybe getting down here at some point and taking a look at what we've got.
Yeah, that'd be great. A statistic you can use in the back of your, if you're doing napkin calculations or whatever, would be, for every 400 students, you're going to produce 50 gallons of organic waste a day.
Love that number. Thank you for that.
Feeding the kids.
Smaller portion sizes.
I think we've heard from everybody. Any other follow-up thoughts or questions?
Anybody else come to the door and ask questions?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
These are the best questions I've ever had, so appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to present and field all of our questions. And it sounds like if you don't already have it, there will be contact information exchanges.
That'll be great. I look forward to it.
Perfect. Well, thank you again.
Thanks, Daniel.
Appreciate your
Thanks,
time.
Daniel.
Yep. Have a good meeting.
Too. Okay. Sounds good.
Very good presentation.
Yeah.
Just to verify it, the website's richlandfarms.net.
Yeah, it's Daniel at, I can just send that out to them. Perfect. Everybody.
Yeah, I talked about, it's on the website, because I've seen her look through the website while he was talking. His email's on there.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, that wraps up our first order of business. Fortunately, all the rest of them are shorter. Our next is just the approval of the meeting minutes from the August 21st regular CAC meeting that was sent out by email, I believe, on Tuesday, the 14th. Are there any corrections to the minutes as distributed? All right, seeing none, those are approved. And then we can go to reports, starting with the district, if you're ready, Tom.
You guys ready?
I think we are.
Well, I'll forego the conference because that's later on the agenda, so. County Council adopted our budget as presented Tuesday night, so that's all said and done. Now we transition to year-end stuff. But one thing I do have for the CAC is what's in the budget. $20,000 appropriation for community grant program. So that program has to be written and adopted by the board. I pretty much have a program drafted. What I've been using, Boone County and Hendricks County have had these programs in place for a long time. I know those directors well, so they sent me all their stuff. Theirs. And one thing that they have in there is a role for the CAC in reviewing grant applications. So that is in what I've drafted. I do plan to present a first draft, I guess, to the board at the November meeting. I doubt that they will vote on it and adopt it at that meeting. I'm sure they're going to want to have some input and go through revisions. But it's also $2026, so I would like to have it approved by the board at the December meeting at the latest, so that we can turn around and advertise, open for grant applications and get those in, reviewed and awarded early in the year, so that people have time to actually do what they've asked for money to do. So I guess, and I don't know if now is the time, but think about what role you might want or would be comfortable having in that grant process of making recommendations to the board. Obviously, and And when I get it finished, I can get ahead of time. I can get you guys copies of the draft. I'm gonna give it to the board, but, obviously there's criteria in there about, preference, priority given to those proposals that align well with the district's mission. Criteria, I mean, we're not paying for somebody's recycling fees or disposal service. We'll buy the totes to implement your program. We'll help you, if you're putting a employee break area outside and want to buy recycled content furniture. And those are the types of things and at least that the Boone and Hendricks County do, and in my mind would be appropriate for district funds to be used. So that's coming, and going to push to have that happen fast, because we need to give people time to spend the money next year. That's where we have the money. Let's see, the board did approve. I think everybody knows we had the super fund cash out settlement agreement that was approved. That's all been completed and the check sent. Don't have a certified receipt back, but as far as I'm concerned, that's all done. We did get a basement truck for the one that was wrecked. That's right. So it's just got that last week, Friday. So, but and I don't know if it's a foot shorter than the one that was wrecked. The staff said that, I mean, they went and measured their gaylords and their totes and said it'll work. We can still work with it. And we got that one a lot faster than if we'd had and build exactly what was right from scratch. So we'd still be waiting. Like I said, we're starting to transition over to year-end stuff. One other thing that is on the board's agenda for November that was introduced at the October meeting is we're proposing what looks like really substantial revisions to our fee resolution. A lot of it is just reorganizing. In the fee resolution, there were fees attributed to South Walnut that we collected the household hazardous waste. That's South Walnut. We don't transact money at the recycling center. So we reorganized it a lot. The only residential fees that are going up are latex paint. At least proposed to go up are latex paint. But we encourage people to dry it out. But it's not liquid, it's not hazardous, you can just throw it out. So I'm not totally concerned about those going up. People have a free alternative, or I think it's an alternative that they're already absorbing the cost. So the majority of the changes are for commercial and small quantity generators, for hazmat, small businesses that don't meet the EPA threshold to produce hazardous waste, and out of county residents. Those are the fees that are changing. Some are actually going down. We're trying to looking at our costs, and it's not about making money. It's about trying to have it be a wash when those customers come in. So, and we've had to add some new categories on there. Damaged lithium-ion batteries are a big deal right now. They're expensive. So we split those out cost-wise from undamaged lithium batteries. So there's things like that are in there. But in my mind, nothing should be sticker shock to anybody. Many of them were just, we don't do pennies next door, so I'm not charging $3.08 for something. It's $3.10. Because we don't do a lot of cash transactions anymore. Nobody likes pennies. But other than that, America Recycles Day, November 15th. Had, as we've done in the past few years, we did have a musician planned. Unfortunately, he's had to cancel on us, so we are trying to do Plan B on the fly, but we will try to do something at all the recycling centers to acknowledge America Recycles Day on the 15th.
I know that was a thing.
Huh?
I did not know November 15th was American Recycles Day.
Every year. That's, I think it goes back to the 70s, probably.
Very well observed.
It's not Labor Day or Memorial Day, it is there. I think that's all I can think of. Right now.
Good list. Questions? Did want to ask for the other counties who have the grant programs, the role that the CAC plays, is it to make a recommendation on
Just
the?
to make a recommendation to the board.
Okay.
Because it's district funds, the board has to, I guess I'll take that. The board could establish the program in such a way that they delegate, the award of those funds to the CAC.
Gotcha.
The CAC would, if they could do it to staff. Should, I'd have to investigate CAC, but those districts haven't done it. They want the CAC to review them and make the recommendation to the board. Grants they feel most in line, best use of funds.
Okay. I think it's a good agenda item for a subsequent meeting to discuss more completely. I just wanted to have an idea of how the reference ones work. So that makes sense. Thank you. All right. So that is it for reports from the district. I do have one note for a report from the chair. As Tom mentioned, we're nearing year end and we have 1 year terms. So I think it's probably a good time to indicate via email, I think directly to Tom, if you would like to renew your CAC membership for next year. I'll send an email out after this meeting so that the members who are absent can also see that. And then that could maybe be one convenient thread for everybody to use to respond to Tom.
And if I could, I guess, have those before Thanksgiving, because we would try to do the appointments at the December meeting, the reappointments at the December meeting.
Yes, that would be, yeah, also between now and our next meeting. If I'm not mistaken.
Maybe after your next meeting.
Okay, yep. All right. So there's that. On that note, I will also let you know, if you don't already, that I am planning on moving out of Bloomington next year. So I will not be a member of the CAC after December. So.
Yeah, we have to go back to me on these things. I'm sorry.
So a little change there. Just give you some notice. That's all I have to report.
You gotta think about that, because in January, you guys got to elect officer.
Yes. So that's all I have for the chair report. Any questions? All right, technically, probably it's possible. I don't know if it's something to be possible or accessible.
On the sheet.
Yeah. So, okay, that's it for reports. We don't have any special committee reports, special orders, or unfinished business. And the only new business item that we have on the agenda is just an item for AISWMD retreat discussion that was last week. Okay. So any thoughts in particular? I know Tom, Matt, and I think John were able to attend.
Yeah, I like the Indiana Compost Council. I think it makes sense to join that with the Waste Reduction District. I know they're trying to raise funds for that. I don't know, Tom, that's something that we'll view with the board of directors.
We have to look at it and what the dues are.
I know I said,
How
I
that fits
think
in the budget.
it was 150 or 250 for nonprofits and might have been a little more for Waste Reduction.
What did that entail?
It entailed being a part of it, having two of your organization's members attend ICC things for free, being able to guide, provide guidance as to where they're moving, goals, things like that. a hand in the direction.
That's cool. I didn't hear about that.
And I found it really interesting to find out that Coca-Cola hasn't been using recycled bottles until 2 years ago. And it was interesting to see the process that Republic does with them and whatnot. So I found that interesting, and they are interested, or Coca-Cola is interested in potentially doing something in Monroe County with some sort of sustainability stuff, maybe with IU, with tailgates. So I know IU is meeting with them at some point in time, this month or next month. So hopefully there'll be something, that they have done something with IU's Indianapolis campus last year. And they have done something previously with Clemson University and their tailgate. So hopefully something come out of that. I found that interesting. That co-consolidated would be trying to fund that or
Right.
partner.
Right.
So there might be more opportunities.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks for that. Tom, do you have anything in particular?
I really enjoyed the land trust presentation. It was on Tuesday, and I found that really informative. There's a lot more types of land trust out there than I was aware of. I know a lot more of them that are active in Indiana. And I, as a director, the attorney from the Corridon Group, who is basically the association's lobbyist arm, spoke on Wednesday afternoon and talked about some of the legislative changes that occurred and the impacts that those are going to have. There were some things I wasn't aware of that he threw out. They're not subject to them till sometime in 26 or 27, but once I got past what happened this year, I guess I didn't read far enough into the bill to see, oh, there's another requirement a year later. So, that was good and that was important. But I enjoyed it, but I needed to hear it. So.
I'll add that I also thought it was informative. I would say I did enjoy it. But I also don't have to deal with the consequences of it as directly.
And I will say I didn't understand a lot of it.
Great. Well, thank you for attending as well and for hearing our summary for those who are able to.
I always get a lot of value out of it. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah.
I thought all the sessions were really good this year, and may not have been specifically directed at somebody like me, but I think that all the sessions, somebody got something out of them.
Okay.
Yeah, very informative. All right, so that's it for our one item of new business. I do have one more item that I want to note that just came to mind when talking about the board meeting and end of year stuff. We should have a second joint meeting. We talked about, we had done one around the budget, we're gonna do one around the end of the year.
Yeah. Good try.
Okay.
And I will say, in recent years, we've actually been pretty good about that, but that's not always been the case, and that is certainly not the case for every district throughout the state.
Sure.
But we can put it out there. I know we're running short on time, but I will also, I guess I could have, should have said in my district report that one of the things we talked about the later year joint meeting was for 5-year plan, which would be up for an update this year. However, right, item is working on a new statewide materials management plan, which is going to replace the state's current solid waste management plan. So I'm not sure that it makes sense for us to put the time and effort into updating our plan if a year from now it's going to be moot because of what the state, new directions the state's trying to go. So doesn't necessarily excuse us from having a required joint meeting, but that was the topic that, as I recall, that was discussed for that joint meeting. And I'm not sure that that's the best use of time right now.
Sure. Yeah, I saw Tom sent that email on Tuesday, I think, and that contains that article, how that changed. I personally didn't have a chance to read it yet, but unfortunately, all of our time is already well spent on other things, but I thought that maybe be a good item for our next meeting agenda.
I thought the article was just commercial food waste required.
You know, but the state is nowhere near adopting a plan.
Okay. Are there any thoughts on timing for if we were to do a joint meeting? Is it just the usual target our CAC or board meetings to do sort of back to back? Does that generally work for everyone?
I say the December board meeting, I mean, the CAC meeting starts to butt up against Christmas break. I don't know what plans people have.
Right, okay. Okay,
Might make some more sense to do in December, is what you're saying, because.
Well, at this point, yeah, I think it's been hard to,
Okay.
everyone, first step is see what the board
it's a
says.
lot easier to get the board to commit to something face to face than email.
Got it.
How about that?
Okay, that's all I had on that. Any other thoughts or agenda items that weren't previously mentioned? All right, well, that brings us to public comment. I don't see anyone in the room or, let's see. No, okay, nobody else in the meeting either. Okay, so no members of the public present. So just make a reminder that our next scheduled regular meeting would be November 20th, 5:30. That's not Thanksgiving, right?
No, I think it's the week before.
Okay. Yes, yeah, we should have checked that during our beginning of the year review of the calendar.
Yeah,
So, okay,
Thanksgiving is 27.
okay, thank you. So yes, that is when our meeting is scheduled. And it will be in this room. If there are no objections, we will adjourn.